Good morning, and it's a beautiful morning. I live in Georgia. It rained last night, and there's just a great smell to the air. Not too hot today. Man, it's a fucking forest where I live, and I'm pretty close to town. So, the net came in last night. Oh my God, it is so awesome. Look at that. It just fits the body. Yeah, it's a Dean top. Came from China. They copied Dean. They probably didn't pay him. But it just looks good, man. Everything looks just so sick. And the inlay on this thing, look at this fucking inlay. Oh my God, I hope you can see it close. You know, I'm sure it's like just some sort of epoxy resin they put in there and it hardens and they sand it down. But, you know, I don't know how they get those fine little points on it and then the cool little oyster shell or whatever that is. It just looks sick, doesn't it? It looks killer. I mean, it's gonna be really cool. Oh, but I got a bunch of stuff. I'm kind of up early trying to figure out what I'm gonna work on today. I got a bunch of stuff to do to this, man. I mean, there's just, nothing really fits and everything's got to kind of be put together. The only you know, saving factor or deciding factor to even just kind of go forward on my own on this is that I'm doing a 10 string, and those things can kind of get a little twangy, and if they're a little bit jangy, you know, it makes them sound better. So I think my tolerances as far as building a guitar are going to be a little bit less. You know, and it's not like a guitar that, you know, you just can use all the time anyway. It's like, you know, something for a little color. You know, I'm okay with going forward. A couple things that, you know, this neck, they make a couple different sizes necks, so I discovered they make like a 2 1/4 and a 2 3/16. Well, my pocket here is a 2 3/16. This thing is a 2 1/4. So somehow I got to figure out how to get this thing kind of to fit in the pocket. The other thing is, one thing too, also this is hecked out for a Floyd Rose type, which I'm not going to use. So I got to figure out how to fit this nut in here. You know, I might try to shave down the back side of that Floyd Rose pocket there and just kind of get that going. The other thing is I already filled a couple of holes. I just took a drumstick, and it was kind of the hardest material I could find, and rounded it down and then filled a couple of holes because I got to re-drill this for 5 on each side. Luckily, that's why I got this net, because it's just, I got plenty of room here to work 5 strings on each side. So I'm gonna probably put 1 there, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll go something like that, and then I'll like recut this coming back into here so that I got a good angle for my strings coming in through here. So the neck top, I'll repaint it black. The top won't be exactly that Dean shape. That's coming down through here. Then this, I already modded this out. This was it was a 12-string bridge. I can't remember if I said something before, but what blows me away on both the 12-string on like this Rickenbacker style and like the Tune-o-matic, the 12 strings are the same spacing as the 6-string. I never knew that. I mean, I always thought 12 strings were spaced farther, but they basically just kind of cram a string in there. So in order to get kind of my 5-string spacing, you know, I like to space it a little bit and get it a little bit more gap on the strings as they're coming down through here. So I re-drilled the back. You see a bunch of holes there because this bridge strings, it was a 6-string. So if we're talking in 6-string bridge, it's strung 6 through the back. I mean, it was a 12-string bridge. And each one of these little saddles takes 2 strings, and one of them feeds from underneath, the other one feeds from the back. So I recut it, centered it, and basically just centered, and then just re-drilled for the feeds to come up centered, and re-drilled for these adjuster screws back here and then that works out pretty good. And they're spaced. I spaced them just a tiny bit wider than they come from the factory. But this thing I solid this up. Kind of looks a little wanky there, but oh well. I got to figure out how to kind of feather, how to get some lacquer on there to get that paint to kind of match in a little better. But anyway, so this, we'll get centered kind of on there. I'll cut some new holes through to the base. It's so nice and solid. That'll work out pretty good. I just got to figure out how to get this in. The other thing that you got to do is you got to take this distance from here to your 12th fret, which is right there, and then you times that by 2, so that's 25. That's what, 12 3/4. So I got to go 25 1/2 to my tailpiece. Well, this is a full 2-octave neck, so it's a little longer than like a traditional Strat neck, which this guitar body was made for. So my Strat neck that came on this body is about there, which puts my bridge back about here. If I was to put this on as a full 2-octave neck and then take out for my 25 1/2 inch distance, it puts my tailpiece up here on my pick guard. So that's no good. So I'm gonna have to cut this neck. I'm gonna have to cut this neck out about a 1/2 inch. And then also I'm gonna have to shave the sides down just a little bit. And that's got me kind of concerned. It's got me a little bit concerned because I don't want a neck that, I want it to fit good. So then last night I was thinking, why don't I make some sort of key? So I'll probably come in through here, I'll probably come in through here. I'll show you. Take a piece of tape like this. So let's see, if I was gonna cut this. If I was gonna cut this, if I'm gonna cut like a 1/2 inch off of it, oh, my fucking finger, man. So yesterday I'm trying to fix a piece of drywall on the ceiling at this job next to a can light, and it was real kind of a small space to work. I'm trying to fit a patch, and I didn't want to tear out too much sheetrock. So I had to fit in a little piece of backing to get to screw to, and there wasn't a lot of room. So I got my hand up in there, and I'm feeling it, and I'm sliding the piece of wood in, and I'm trying to tack it down from below with the screw gun, and the whole, I'm thinking, I just wasn't worried about it. I'll move my finger out of the way. And I'm trying to get a good hold on that thing so that it's a nice solid connection. Got some good pressure coming down on it. And I'm like, yeah, I'll move my finger out of the way. I mean, I don't have my screw gun. It's not like a Hilti gun or nothing. I don't have my screw gun on full blast. I just kind of going slow. But for whatever reason, man, as soon as I felt the screw hit my finger, then the signal went to my brain, then back to my finger to, move my finger out of the way, because that's where the screw is coming in right about there. Well, by that time, the screw had already like fucking took hold of my finger and fucking screwed my finger into the wood. I was like, you idiot. But anyway, so that kind of hurts. That kind of fucks up my guitar playing. So anyway, so I'm gonna take this here like that. You can't see that. I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna cut a little key in it. I'm gonna kind of like this, and then on the cut, I'm gonna do something like that. There, and I'll have a little key in it, and then I'll key this in right here, and that way this neck will kind of slide in there, and it'll kind of lock in place. It'll help it like lock in place. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess 4 screws hold this thing fine, but there's a lot of pressure on there, especially when you're lifting it up and down. I never really kind of understood how, these screw-on necks hold so well. And I think they have to have a solid connection here, and they've got to have a solid, kind of pocket to go into. And if I'm just doing this by hand with a sander and a fucking, little hand grinder and some files and shit, I just don't think my tolerances are going to be super tight. So I figured I'd make like a little key and help lock that thing in, and then that'll get it to come up a little bit closer into here, and it'll put my bridge back in there. I mean, it should be fucking sick. The thing is, it just looks so awesome. Oh my God. I mean, look at that thing, man. It looks like that neck. It looks like a magical creature of the forest. It's going to have like superpowers. I play it. So Anyway, that's that. That's my project for today. My son got me this thing, so I'm gonna try to hook this up to hold the camera up. That'll be cool there. All right, later.